If you walk through Chalmette National Cemetery in Louisiana, you'll eventually come across grave 4066, marked with the name Lyons Wakeman. According to the records, the soldier buried here fought for the Union, died in active service, and received full military honors. There's just one problem. A man named Lyons Wakeman never actually existed. To understand why, we have to look back to the 1970s, at an untouched pine trunk sitting in the dusty attic of an upstate New York farmhouse. Inside, relatives found a cheap silver ring, a thick stack of letters, and this tintype photograph of a 19-year-old girl dressed in a Union uniform. Her real name was Sarah Rosetta Wakeman. Hidden for a century, her words reveal a soldier's life defying traditional records. These pages provide a rare first-person account of a female infantryman who pulled triggers, marched through hostile territory, and slept in the mud. This single box of letters documents a reality of female combat service that was often missing from the history of the era. In 1862, Rosetta was the eldest of 9 children living on a heavily indebted farm. At the time, female domestic work paid very little. To help her family, Rosetta put on men's clothing and found work on a canal barge, where the pay was significantly higher. This chart shows the financial incentives she found while working. Compared to the wages of a female domestic worker, Union Army recruiters were offering a signing bounty of $152, more than a year's wages for a woman at the time. To collect that money, Rosetta had to pass a military physical. But in 1862, these exams were often superficial. If a recruit had the front teeth to tear open a powder cartridge and a working trigger finger, they were usually cleared for duty. Enlisted under the alias Lyons Wakeman, she was assigned to the 153rd New York Volunteers. She spent her first several months pulling guard duty in the capital, successfully blending into the daily routines of camp life. She wrote home frequently, signing the letters with her real name. She often wrote about her newfound independence, telling her family she could drill as well as any man, and that she was, in her own words, as independent as a hog on the ice. Rosetta's letters make it clear that she joined the infantry to secure a level of financial independence that was otherwise out of reach. By south to Louisiana to participate in the Red River Campaign. There, Rosetta was deployed in the Battle of Pleasant Hill, a major confrontation involving thousands of troops on both sides. In her final letter home, she described the intensity of the fighting. "I had to face the enemy bullets with my regiment. I was under fire about 4 hours." Rosetta remained on the battlefield all night after the fight, writing home about the rows of deceased soldiers and horses left in the mud. Her letters place a female soldier in the middle of the exact same physical and psychological weight of combat as every other member of her regiment. Following the battle, clean drinking water became scarce. Rosetta and her fellow soldiers were forced to drink from streams contaminated by the campaign's debris. Rosetta contracted chronic dysentery. As her condition worsened, she was moved to a federal hospital in New Orleans. On June 19, 1864, at age 21, she died, and was buried under her alias. During her weeks in the hospital, there is no record that the medical staff ever discovered she was a woman, or if they did, they chose not to document it, allowing her burial as a soldier. Because her family preserved her letters, her story eventually reached historians, prompting a closer look at the scale of female participation in the war and a revised estimate of roughly 400 women soldiers. Grave 4066 stands as more than just a burial site for an alias. It represents the hundreds of women who served and died in the American Civil War.